Alright, let's fire things up here. This week in Illuvium, I'm just about to get started here. Been about a month and a half of doing these now. Been enjoying myself, to say the least, and I'm very happy to have the opportunity to be able to do this. So I'm definitely looking forward, even though this is a bit of a quiet day. Quiet week of sorts. Not every week can be a banger, but we're gonna do the best that we can. There is still some stuff to talk about, by all means, don't get me wrong. We'll get into the swing of things in just a moment. I'm just getting everything finalized and situated. Making sure all platforms are running a-okay. I think all is good. Check. There we go. Chat rooms. There we all are. Perfect. Alright, there. Now we can truly actually get the show started here. So again, this week in Illuvium, this is episode, what, 6 at this point now? Been doing this for about a month and a half. Definitely enjoying my time and being able to just bring whatever news happens to be out there here to the Illuvium community. This week is going to be a little bit of a slower one. We have the one town hall that I didn't have the opportunity to talk with you about because it happened on Monday night, if I recall correctly. The Risk to Earn or Illuvium Deathmatch town hall in particular. We'll go over that very briefly. It shouldn't take us too much time. Then we'll go into our arena recap, our meta look, see what people have been playing over the last couple of days. Take a look at the leaderboards. And then as much as I'd want to go into like a top sales or an Illuvidex breakdown here for today's episode of This Week in Illuvium, due to the ZKEVM migration, the shop's been down. So there's no sales to be on top, so to speak. There's no sales period because everything is getting migrated over to the new blockchain. So I'm not going to break things down, not going to break down any more of the alluvials for today only because you couldn't list any new alluvials, you can't buy any alluvials, so the market just being down. So we'll skip that part for today, but we adapt, we continue to try and find new things. And so we're going to take a look and see who our top collectors in the game as a whole are. So we'll take a look at that after our leaderboard. Give me a shout out to whoever happens to be on top of the Illuvium Arena leaderboard. And last but not least, we'll wrap things up here with the community. See who's been making any content around Illuvium, who's been streaming. Hopefully it's not just me. So we'll have to see. Then of course, after This Week in Illuvium, after the show, gonna be doing something a little bit different. I've done it in the, or a little bit different. At least we haven't done this kind of style in a while, because it hasn't been available. But I'm gonna have yous queue up in ranked here for me, and I'm just gonna spectate the game and cast it like an esports event. So that'll be the goal here. I personally won't be competing in this. I'm just going to be telling the story of your ranked games afterwards. So in about a half hour's time, if you want to get arena open to get ready to boot up, I want to see some full lobbies, and then you know I will absolutely glaze and shout you out and just like, excuse me, like I was saying, glaze your alluvials, and we'll get to see you in action, and I'll commentate it the best that I can in an esports kind of style. Haven't got the opportunity to do that in a little bit, so I know personally I'm looking forward to it. The only things I've been able to do is just cast matches once I've been knocked out of games. But I don't think I've casted a whole game start to finish since maybe the actual Illuvium Pro League, so I'm looking forward to this. Up into the swing of things here in just a minute. Illuvium, thank you for the repost once again. Hello everybody on the X side of things. Hope you're having a great day. Regardless of which platform you're on, of course, I hope you have a fantastic day. I do have the chat windows open, so while I am talking through this kind of like a news show, I again do still have the chat over to my side here. If you see me looking this way, it's what I'm looking at. But if I'm in the middle of a thought, it's okay. Fire off any sort of comments or any, or if you just want to chit chat, that's a-okay as well. Of course, it's not a mandatory thing, but if you have any questions as well, I'll gladly answer. Just because this is a news show doesn't mean I'm completely like fixated on strictly my notes. I'll gladly get the chat involved as well. But again, not mandatory. Like I always say, I'm just happy you're here. Okay, let's get into the swing of things here. So the Risk to Earn document, or not the Risk to Earn document, but the Risk to Earn town hall. This was the last town hall of Town Hall Week that we didn't get the opportunity to talk about together, as it was on Monday. But it was kind of set up to be risk to earn plus a staking kind of talk based off of Monday's previous town hall. That would have been the excuse me, the MMO one, I believe. But this is what was talked about here. So first off, excuse me, 'tis the season. But in regards to the risk to earn game, of course, the concept, the design document was released a long time ago. We got the opportunity to analyze it actually on, I think it was the second episode ever of This Week in Illuvium. But in terms of a few things, it wasn't necessarily so clear as to what direction they were going with the game. This did kind of clarify it. A little bit here. So first and foremost, again, the risk to earn game mode is basically where you're going to take one of your own alluvials that you actually have to have owned, put it into essentially a Hunger Games or a Battle Royale style. And if you are in, I think as the document said, if you're in the top 3 of eliminations, or if you were the last alluvial standing, your alluvial would essentially win. It would not end up getting burnt. All of the losers in this deathmatch, though, do end up getting burnt. You lose the alluvial, it dies. That's basically the grasp here of this risk to earn game style. And yeah, of course. Wifey checking up on me, bear with me, sorry. But yeah, so it's a little bit of a gamble system, and depending on which way they went with this, it could be like on its own, like a standalone super like entertaining title, which I do believe that it is going to be, or you could go like super heavy casino and gamble with it. But I feel like they've kind of made a relatively decent middle ground here, because 100% at the end of the day, the alluvials do have a monetary value attached to them. So by putting it and risking it into the Battle Royale, it is gambling. So at this end of the day, of course, do make sure that whenever the game does come out that you play responsibly. And I know whenever I stream any content for this game, I'm going to put that reminder in there every single time. I'm going to stream it like I'm streaming poker, basically. Just want to make sure that I have everything out there. I'm not hiding nothing. That this is technically gambling and you should do it wisely and responsibly. And with that, it is absolutely aimed at, as Kieran posts, or not posted, as Kieran called it, crypto degens. So it's aimed at the degens that do want to try and essentially flip $1 into 10, or like 10 into 50 kind of idea. So just those that would go on to like certain Web3 or certain crypto websites and like invest in a coin to see if it all of a sudden took off or if you ended up getting rugged. Like anyone who's kind of in that sort of demographic is where this game is targeted for. However, I do believe that the game as itself, or as it is right now, is something that, say, like a normie like myself would be interested in playing, because I have some extra alluvials and the slot machine mechanic that was introduced to the game is at least a little bit more fair than what I last thought. I'll break that down here in just a second, actually. So the wheel spin. So when I was talking about this in the last time when I was reading the document, what I was concerned about was that people would be able to pay as much as possible to like spin this wheel, and then if somebody was just putting their alluvial in, they would not have any chance at any of the boosts or anything like that, and they would be at a massive disadvantage. That is not the way that this is going to go. As soon as you put in your own alluvial, everybody gets at least one spin, or gets one spin at the wheel to get the boosts and the possible nerf that's there as well, but you get a chance at the wheel. The paid aspect is if you want to keep re-rolling the wheel over and over again to maybe try and get yourself a shot at some of those better boosts. So It is actually something that is there for everybody, not just strictly additional payments afterwards. Everybody gets one spin, and I think that's a decent middle ground rather than just strictly making it a pay-to-win mechanic. So I'm kind of happy there that they did end up taking this spin on it. Of course, there is a prize for every single battle, but there will be a jackpot as well that includes the, I guess, additional rewards that come in from all or many matches that are happening at that time. A very, very low chance, of course, to hit that jackpot, but say the winner of the Battle Royale has an opportunity to try and win that jackpot. Just by chance. I'm not exactly sure how in particular, like, you'll actually visualize it, but I believe it is that the winner gets a chance to hit that jackpot. It goes up with every single game and resets, of course, once somebody has won it. Once you place your Illuvial into the Battle Royale, though, of course, there is little to no player agency. In fact, you can't control this thing at all. You just place it in there, hope you've trained it good enough, and hope that the circumstances happen to work in your Illuvial's favor. A couple of things that were also noted by Kieran in this town hall was that this is going to be a browser game. So this means whether you're playing this on PC, phone, or another device, it doesn't matter. This is going to be actually extremely accessible for the public to be able to play, not just relying on PC players to get the job done here, which is quite nice. And then Illuvial insurance. In the document, there was something in regards to Illuvial insurance that maybe you would be able to pay something to get essentially a get out of jail free card for your Illuvial. Like, God forbid they don't happen to be in the top 3 in kills, or they don't end up being the winner of the Battle Royale, that it wouldn't get burned and you'd get it back. That is not going to be a thing, at least not on the release of this game. So there will be no Illuvial insurance, no get out of jail free card. If your Illuvial does not end up performing, well, it's dead. That's it. Last thing in regards to the risk to earn is that they're going to be reaching out to big accounts on X, so big social media influencers or something along those lines, to be able to show them the risk to earn game when it does come out. Kind of give them some free entries, try and help spread the word of the game, spread the word of Illuvium as well. No guarantee whether they'll actually like stream it or make content on it or something along those lines, but the effort to reach out to them will be there, is what was kind of discussed. And last but not least, in terms of our actual release date for the Risk to Earn game, we do not have one as of yet. There has not been an official release date set. But that was the final town hall that we had to truly cover. A lot of it we did kind of cover, of course, in the document in the second episode, but it's nice to see that there is a little bit of clarity in regards to who is aimed for. For sure this is a gambler's game, a Risk or a Degen's kind of game. It's cool that it's going to be on browser. That is definitely a nice touch. Get everybody involved with this, and then the fact that everybody gets at least a one wheel spin, that feels a lot better than just paying for a wheel spin and then anybody who doesn't end up paying not getting one. I like the reroll idea a little bit better. It grew on me a little bit. And while it is gambling, I do have to double check with YouTube in particular. I gotta see how their policies are in regards to games that are considered gambling. Because I might have to go, or I might have to actually skip it being on YouTube and throw it onto Twitch and Kick or something instead. But we'll see. We'll get there when the time comes. We gotta get the game out here first. The arena recap. Let's break down what the meta's been looking like over the last couple of days here. Hopping on over to IlluviVault. Again, anyone who's interested in taking a look at these websites themselves throughout the week, I will post these in the description after the show. I'll post all the links, rather. You can take a look yourself if you would like. Then we have win rates, but again, there's very, very few uses. So I'd like to switch this over by completion. Let's take a look at which augments have been dominating the arena. And once again, Restorating Impact Reactor is absolutely on fire. being used almost 200 times, and you're basically guaranteed that you'll see one of these restorating impact reactors in your game on a top player. The synchronizing pulse reactor showing up in second, where your energy, or excuse me, where your attack damage does get translated into energy damage as well, with a little bit of energy resist piercing, being able to really buff up a physical carry is making its way up in the second. Third is the Hyperforce reactor, where every attack gives you attack speed. The charged force reactor, where you're just getting raw damage, is going to be in fourth, with the overflowing impact reactor, where you get the shield alongside some attack damage once you fall below 40% health. Going to round things up here in fifth, what I find extremely interesting right now, and I don't want to cope, but I've been finding that this week it's been a lot harder to play Scion. And the fact that I'm not seeing, I mean, other than Scoriox, because Scoriox is an exception, but I'm not seeing any Omega Power augments in the top 10, or excuse me, not the top 10, in the top 5 at all. And the only one that is there is technically more of an engine piece, more of an energy generator, than it is just raw Omega Power. So potentially Scion's having a hard time. We'll take a look when we get a little bit lower and start looking at which teams are being played here this week. Looking at legendary augments, of course, these don't happen anywhere near as often, but when we do, we've got the Inner Limit Breaker, where we do have 40% health and resistances. That's getting to take the top spot alongside Berserker's Flurry, where you get the attack range and attack speed. The Life Storm showing up here as well, where you heal and give energy to everything within a bunker kind of style composition. That's really, really good. The Absorption Cells, where you end up getting more attack damage, Omnivamp, and crit on takedown. Going to be fourth, and rounding up our top 5 is going to be the Arcane Conduit, where you get attack damage as Omega Power, while also kind of being an engine piece as it's well, with I think it's either 7 or 8 energy per shot that you would get. If we take a look down by weapons and see what are the teams kind of dominating the meta here so far, let's take a look. For this another week in a row here, we are going to see the Elderwood staff take the top spot here, and it just seems so damn flexible. Currently, it's looking like a Toxic Enchanter style seems to be getting the most usage here. Pairing that up with the Sinolf to maybe do some Toxic Enchanter. You do have the Templar style as well, where you can do Verdant Templar, pairing it with a Phosphorus, and then Verdant Aegis as well, whether it's with a Graco, whether it's with the Heady or a Gnarl, you can get the job done that way to make Verdant Templar seeming, or not Verdant Templar, Verdant Aegis. Make that a good thing. Right behind it, let's take a look. So we do have the Quake Maulers. Rogues are showing up here in regards to making the top spot. Pairing them up with a Goliath, oddly enough, seems to be the way to go this time by, where you can get Verdant Granite. That's a different way to play it. Definitely like it, though. We do also see it paired up with the Krunk. That way you can do Bloom Verdant as well. And you can also go for Revenant Dust by switching it over to the Gazatep or anyone in the Gazatep line. So Rogues still looking good, while Verdant Vanguard might have fallen off a cliff, it looks like. It seems like the Quake Maulers are still making it so that Rogues are still in a very, very good position. Strike Boomerang showing up here as well. 35 wins over the last couple of days here. And it is going to be due to a mixture of Inferno Arcanite, but also, what in the world is that? Shock Templar, possibly? That is definitely kind of interesting there. I can't say that I've seen Shock Templar, but I mean, it does kind of make sense considering you're using Riley more often than not. It's the add-on for some additional shock there, and that is also a Templar. So that might actually be a good little synergy there. Didn't really necessarily think about that. But that's what I love about this website. This makes me theory craft a little bit and try and guess as to what people are actually building here. It's really, really cool. Number 4, I was talking about Scions having a hard time, but we are going to see the Emberling Rod. In this instance, we do see the Toxic Invoker style. That's the more common style, I think, overall, where you do end up pairing that up with your Sinalf or with your Dual F, as it's showing here in this instance here. But we do see Verdant applications here as well, with Verdant Arcanite if you do pair it up with the Phosphorus, as well as Verdant Enchanter if you do pair it up with Archos. So a couple of different ways that you can end up playing Scion right now, but 2 of them not really actually being focused on Scion at all. So with this being one of the top builds so far, maybe the Arcanite style or maybe the Enchanter style is why we saw here that just nobody's actually playing Scion. Like full Scion or playing Invoker. And last but not least, here in our top 5, it is going to be Mud. Fair enough. Anytime we see this weapon, we know it's basically going to be one thing, and it's going to be paired up with the Monk here. It is going to be Mud Berserker. Seems to be the most common that we get. Sometimes we do see this spin-off here, though, as we see with the next 2 Illuvials, where you have the Rip Lance, so you can then do Berserker Tsunami. Maybe if you happen to have secured yourself a Flood or a Axodon, possibly. Do it that way as well, or you can even go for Steam Behemoth if you do end up having the Seer, as we see here, lined up Behemoth alongside like an Umber or a Dual F. That sounds absolutely crazy, actually. So crafty, interesting little builds there. If we take a look at the top 2 or the top 3, just to even get into the podiums, things do switch up a little bit. It's the same offenders for the most part. The only thing that is different outside of the actual order of the Illuvials or the weapons themselves is the Ember Buckler does end up showing up here. So we do have a Steam Vanguard style here if you pair it up with the Penguin. The Wildfire Aegis, of course, is possible. Definitely love that one personally when you pair it up with your Archos or your Archelion. Or even, what is that, Shock Behemoth? That's an interesting way to do it. Pairing it up with the Lynx. You don't see that very often, so an interesting spin on it. We hop on over to the right-hand side. You do kind of see it there. Let me fix that ever so slightly. And take a look at which weapons as well, just standalone, have been performing the best, and it seems like Quake Maulers based off of completion. But how about if I switch this by win rate? This one I actually like doing by win rate, and yeah, now it's starting to look and match similar to what we saw here on the left-hand side. Only difference is that we're seeing Earthgrass Scepter show up a little bit more. Vinebound Cleaver is back in the top 10, and rounding out the top 10, we got Lava Gauntlet, Tempest Lance, Sprout Guard, and then the Sylphid Blade for the Mud players. How about our suits? Hunter's Precision continues to be the best, it continues to be the best suit in the Illuvium arena as of this moment. Again, you're getting the additional attack range while also getting True Sight to whatever Illuvial is closest to your Ranger. I know personally, whenever I'm playing Aegis, I absolutely love this thing. So if it's like a Rip Lance or a Phosphorus, Monkier, what have you, giving it the extra attack range, just making it that much safer is so nice. Second, though, is going to be the Healing Tether, where every couple of seconds it is going to heal your 2 lowest allies for a % of their max health. Is going to end up in second. Luminara's Curse, oddly enough, this used to be considered, I believe, one of the worst augments that you can get for your suits, but it's been doing okay so far here in the last couple of days, where you essentially blind the enemies around you. Or was it 2 seconds or so? 2.5 seconds it's looking like based off the website here. And permanently reducing attack speed and resistances. So throw that on a tank or something, and that is absolutely beautiful. Some players have been able to utilize it quite nicely. Number 4, the Explosive Tempo, where you get the stacking attack speed while also getting the explosive attack every 5 attacks. Going to show up in 4th. And finally here for number 5, where you get max health shield of 10% plus damage amplification. That rounds up the top 5. Everything else seems to be falling behind by quite a significant margin here. Life Leecher, Lifebound Step, Fnatic Shot, and the Echo of the Fallen all seem to be performing very poorly with less than a 20% win rate, it looks like. The only one that's kind of close here is the one in 6, where it's at a 19% win rate. And this one does take, I think, a little bit more micromanaging to perform properly, because this is where you dive on the other side. You go in targetable, but then you just absolutely get a ton of attack speed and attack damage once you blink back. So it's the perfect little assassin tool, but it requires a lot of micromanaging in regards to where you're going to put the ranger to try and attack the right unit. See if you can jump in, get a quick kill, and jump back. So it takes a little bit more micromanaging, like I was saying, but it's very, very good in the right hands. But I know someone like myself, I'd always drop the ball whenever I take that augment. So I tend to avoid it, but it's more of a personal preference, not because it's bad by any means. In regards to the leaderboard, let's hop on over to the in-game screen actually for just a moment and take a look at who our leaders are in this one. We snowing? No, we're good. Of course, we did have a ranked reset. I believe it was 2 Thursdays ago, and since then, some people have been grinding, including the leader here currently in the Gauntlet leaderboard here, Junior 3, leading the charge, playing a lot of mud as of late, but has been doing a fantastic job just grinding out games and finding plenty of victories there. But people are starting to catch up. They're not immortal. Bond Daddy Ratty in second, with Dr. Spoon in third. Doing a fantastic job there for our top 3 players. But in regards to our top 20, let's take a look. Fox Spirit in 4th currently. Deno Hype, Tank the Bank, Nocacho, Hector, Aflunk, the leader from the last period, from the last month, is catching back up here as well. We have Adata from Team Monarch. We have Nyx Hype, Psyforcer, Dimitri Syndicate, the Goofy Ramfire, Draknyen. We've got Luca Atlas, Helljar, Illuvium Hunter, Blaze Lacaire, and X Jedi, rounding up our top 20 players here in the Illuvium Gauntlet. We'll have to see if this ends up being a case where the players with the big collections end up catching up, or is the grind itself enough to keep you near the top? We'll have to see as we get into next week how that ends up going. So with that, there we go. We do have a little bit of a newer segment here. There's been a couple of times on stream that I've been referred to check out another website called IlluviRank. And I finally got around to actually checking it out here for today's stream. And I actually really like this website. And I'm going to show it off for you right here, right now. Let's take a look here for our top collectors. So this website here with IlluviRank, this basically takes the entire player base, whether they've touched Arena or not. They rank the players based off of the Illuvials that are in their collection. So everything from TPI of like how strong their Illuvials are, Hollows, Dark Hollows, they have them all ranked. And what I like the best here is it actually shows you who's been making moves in the last month or so. We can see who's been like leveling up their collection big time, who's maybe sold some things off and aren't necessarily worried about it anymore, kind of thing. We get to see our top 100 here. So I kind of want to go through this together here for the first time because it's actually kind of incredible here. This is where I first discovered, I didn't know who Alexa was, but I discovered their collection and it's actually kind of incredible. They haven't had the touch in a while, but this section over here to the right where you see traits full, that's in regards to 100 TPI Illuvials. I know personally, I don't even have one. So for people to have 77, that is absolutely incredible. I personally actually, one of these days, want to maybe go through the profile and see exactly what Alexa has in a non-spreadsheet kind of format, because I can click on the player themselves, but it just gives me stuff in a spreadsheet, which is fantastic for data, but at the same time doesn't necessarily make very good for a show. So I will gladly probably make a video onto going through some of our top players' collections sometime in the very, very near future. But for the meantime, we'll just take a look at the list here. So Bondaddy Ratty getting a couple of upgrades right before the ZK EVM migration goes on through with a decent growth there. Dr. Spoon ends up being the third best collection in all of Illuvium as this moment after a massive 58k upgrade. We do see Sota Hype in here as well, one of our regulars as well in chat. In fourth, Sir Dexter, we have Patat, Fury, Positivity. Toriel is also up here as well. A couple of small upgrades right near the very, very end. We do see Fox Spirit, one of our IPL players as well. A player that has been very adamant about selling their collection and saying, okay, go next, but yet they're actually on the upgrade. So good to have you, Fox Spirit. Looking to see what you got in action, especially since you're on the leaderboards as well now here, or ranked. I'm sure tournament season, we'll see Fox Spirit right back up there. Sir Dexter in 12th currently. Goofy Rampfire, we see them in the ranked leaderboard alongside Dano. Hector as well. Hector with quite the move up here, all the way up to 15th after an 83k point growth. These points again being kind of determined by the alluvials that you get with their rank and their hollow finish. So seeing big moves like that where I'm seeing 83k, I would argue that's a pretty big upgrade. Same thing here where we see Squawk, we see Bora, no Cacho, a big upgrade here over the last month or so, 61k to their name. We've got Kirito, we've got Stinky Pinky, and Marchena getting an upgrade here towards the 20th spot here. Been seeing Warfighter hype a lot more as well. Nice 44k upgrade alongside Blaze Leclerc with 37k here as well. Don't want to leave out though In Space Eyes here, 22nd and 23rd respectively. But the top 25 all looking pretty crazy here. Going on through, just kind of checking out and seeing who the top players are. Like Azil, I don't think I've ever seen them on rank. DMTG, it's been a little while, but I recognize them making a small move here. Ramon, we've got Illumination, my IPL producer and co-commentator up there in 29th. Surfer Dude, a regular here in the chat as well, rounding up 30. NFT Dealer, all to the G. I'm just gonna kind of scroll on through for the next one, see if there's any other big moves here. See Kieran Brown, recognize them. Crizin, I recognize them. Axel making a small upgrade here, 14k, or I say small, but it's probably relatively significant. Ziffid, Draknyen, very, very nice. Father Nix going up there. Junior, there's our leader actually in the entire ranked leaderboard, so it's not all just grind. Junior 3 does have a very, very strong count as a whole, and as we can see, that's a 117k upgrade over the last month. And if we recall back to some of our other episodes of This Week in Illuvium, when we look at our top sales, we would see Junior 3 on that very, very often. They're making moves and trying to make their way up the leaderboard. And at the very, very top of the leaderboard currently in Arena. But slowly but surely crawling their way up here in the overall account rank as well. Let's see, any other big moves here. Ex-Jedi making some moves here. 36k upgrade over the last month or so. And hey, who's that guy? How did I get a 40? That must have been from my Fusion Fest then. So I was gonna say, I did not put a dime into the game for purchasing alluvials. So where did this come from? So, okay. Top 100 player in the world in terms of collection. I'll take that. Zico Perico, recognize them. Any other big moves? G-Hamster with a nice little move there at the very, very end of the overworld as well, breaking into the top 100. And again, this website I will throw in the description after the show. If you want to take a look at IlluviRank yourself, go into a little bit of a deeper dive. It's an interesting website. I don't know if we'll take a look at it every single week, but I definitely want to reference it every once in a while to see who our top collections are in Illuvium as a whole, who's been making moves, stuff along those lines. Last but not least, let's take a look at the community tab and see who has been making content for Illuvium. Give them the shout out that they deserve. Let's take a look on the Twitch side of things. I mean, this might just be a quick one, because other than the town halls and myself, we do have Marty Boy about 6 days ago had their stream when they were streaming their access of the pre-alpha. So good to see Marty Boy out here, and that they're streaming. But now that the pre-alpha is gone, I'm curious, do we see a bit of a slowdown here in terms of Illuvium content creation? I kind of have a feeling that that may end up being the case. So I have YouTube now here over the last week or so. Of course, we have the risk to earn. We have Scoriox calling the arena dead, but it's the gauntlet that he's calling dead. Tell you what, Scoriox, you have a way of making your thumbnails make me feel a certain way, making me feel angry, and then being like, oh no, he's watching the video, he's actually onto something. Good work. Making me feel a certain way. Nicely done, Scoriox. Good video, though. Definitely do recommend checking it out. We see Fungible Games talking about... Oh, they did a Town Hall recap as well, talking about the last 4 Town Halls. Good to see Fungible in there. We have our episode of the download from last week. There isn't going to be one this week, I don't think. Got a message yesterday suggesting that there might not be, so... Probably won't have one tomorrow. Town Hall, there's me. We've got Fungible coming back here for best new MMORPGs, possibly throwing Illuvium onto that list. I found it kind of interesting, though. They say best new MMORPGs, and they have RuneScape and WoW in there. So, I mean, I'm curious as to what their criteria might end up being. We're taking a look at some other games as well. Crypto. I mixed crypto and quick in the same word. Crypto Quick Chat, of course, Draknian also streaming their Illuvium Game Night a couple days ago. Very, very nice. Tokenized. Oh, now we're starting to get into the earning side of things. And yeah, that's the part where I pull the plug. So it's been a little bit quiet. It has been, other than the town halls, now that everything's kind of relatively clear and on the table, all has been kind of quiet. There's not necessarily anything brand new coming out in the super near future that we at least know of as of this moment. We do have, of course, Illuvium Beyond that is going to be doing their Wave 5 release coming in February 19th, I believe the date was. So that part's kind of cool. It isn't like super crazy for myself personally. I know I've gotten many requests to do like Illuvium Beyond specific content for the game, but the thing is, personally, I'm a creature collector. I'm not an NFT collector of sorts here. So like personally, I don't get that dopamine hit of filling up a huge album full of pictures. I enjoy collecting creatures for Illuvium, that's what's it, but it's like, wait, the creatures are NFTs. Yes, I get that. But, I mean, in terms of creatures that I can use out in battle and whatnot, that I have fun with, but I don't just enjoy collecting pictures. If one day all of a sudden Illuvium Beyond turns into a card game or something, I mean, I'm not much of a card game player either, but we'll see. Maybe one day. Not that I don't like it, just not my thing. And then, of course, with the arena, I mean, we touched on it with the recap in the recap last week, but Ascendant is coming back for Illuvium Arena, so that's the one-on-one mode. But it's going to play like Gauntlet now, where all the Illuvials are showing up in the shop instead of going in there with a pre-made team. In theory, I think that's a late February or March release as well. So I'm going to be very, very curious about how that ends up turning out. But with that being said, it's about time here for our Arena post show. Thank you everybody for tuning into the This Week in Illuvium side of things. I know it was a little bit of a slower week, but hopefully we'll get back in the swing of things here once the ZK EVM migration is complete. But the stream itself, it's not done. In fact, I feel like I'm just kind of getting started here. So what we're going to end up doing in just a moment's time, we're going to hop over to the Illuvium Arena. I am going to wait a little bit, let everybody queue in. I'm going to then hop into a game to spectate. We're going to cast you like a tournament game. So hopefully I can find a lobby that is pretty close to full. And if you want to compete and kind of be showcased, here is your opportunity. I'm going to very, very quickly take a minute here to get that all set up. Pop open the Illuvium Arena if you have not done so already and wish to compete. And we'll get into the swing of things in just a couple minutes' time. All right. And then, yeah, in terms of my own Illuvium Arena rank, I've been slacking a little bit. I haven't put in as many games. I do play constantly, but not as many games as the past couple weeks, and I'm falling behind, and I'm not winning as often anymore. I am finding myself in 4th, 3rd, sometimes 2nd if I'm lucky, and maybe squeaking a win every once in a while. But I'm having a harder time now, but I like that. It's good competition, good learning. All right. Almost there. Checking everything's looking okay. Looks like we're all good still. A little paranoid today for some reason. It's... Okay, let's see. Got a ranked game that actually did just start, did it? I'll give it another minute here. Alright, so the game plan. Game plan here for today. So again, this is your opportunity. Queue up now while you can. Because whatever the next ranked match is, I'll cast. So if you want to be showcased on a match, now's your opportunity. Been a long time since we've had the opportunity to cast a game from start to finish. I'm definitely looking forward to this. It's been too long again. Well, I've been casting stuff since StarCraft 2 came out, over a decade ago. I haven't necessarily had as much fun with casting until Illuvium came around with the Dreamers esports tournaments. Then I remember the No Limits Leviathan tournament that happened, I believe, in August of last year. I feel like that's kind of where I got noticed, and then got picked up for IPL. But now, again, there's no IPL, there's no Dreamers esports, and the only tournaments that we know about currently is one going to be happening in April, more so as a tie-in with Illuvium Beyond. We don't know anything else currently about any other tournaments. Kieran says that they want to have some more tournaments, but there is no dates, nothing's actually set yet. So until I start seeing some dates, I won't assume that something's coming out at a certain time. And I need my casting fix. I've kind of snuck it in at the end of games that I've gotten eliminated in early. But let's do one here from start to finish in just a minute's time. Just waiting on the next match to... And of course, a reminder as well, over the last little bit, I've been doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday for streams. This week, I'm not going to be doing Friday. I have Now that I've had the opportunity to sleep on it and think of more video ideas, I have like 21 video ideas that I want to do. Obviously, I can't do all of those in one day, but by taking Friday off from stream, it's going to allow me to actually tackle some actual long-form content here, not just streams, not just shorts. And I've been pushing out a couple of things even as of late. Just yesterday, threw up my video where I took all 5 of the Illuvium town halls and recapped it in under 12 minutes, I think it was. So that video is out for a nice quick catch-up if you have not quite caught up yet already on everything town hall-wise. Those have been getting received rather positively, so thank you to everybody who have tuned in and left me feedback on those. Definitely much appreciated. Okay, we'll hop in here with a match in just a second. Wanted to start one right from the beginning, but at the same time, I also don't want to wait for too long. But here is what we've got in this lobby. Let's take a look. All right. Music will go down here because it is time to do a cast. It has been a little while, to say the least here, but we have ourselves an actual casted Illuvium arena match. Let's get into this. Let's take a look first and foremost as Warfighter, Hype, and Never Lose gonna battle things out here in just a moment's time. But let's take a look at our players. We have Yadya Sanya. That one's gonna give me a tongue twister as the game goes on. My goodness. We're gonna have Warfighter Hype. We're gonna have Toxic. We're gonna have Never Lose. We have Mothpuck from Monarch. My apologies if I pronounced that. Of all the matches I have to pick, I'd pick 2 people that have rather tough to say names. Oh boy, let's get into the swing of things here. But I'll say Mothpuck. But if I have it incorrect, please somebody by all means let me know in the chat. I'll do what I can to correct that. We have Lagging, we have Rage Dagger, and Missing. Not 100% sure if those are players or bots, but oh well, we'll roll with it no matter what. Let's take a look and see what kind of weapons we have coming out here from our players this time by. Warfighter is going to have the Earthgraph Scepter, the Earth Scion weapon. Dyadya's going to be going for the Quake Maulers for some rogue play. Toxic's all lined up here to try and potentially go for Mud, but they're a little bit slow on the monkeys to start things off here. Never Lose. Flame Warden Staff. Fire Empath weapon coming on through. Mothpuck does have the Air Fighter Bow. That's going to be the Galewind Bow coming on through here. And they do manage to find the Grand Atipo. Exalted Water Atipo coming on through. Nice little pickup there for a little bit of frontline support. Lagging's got the Water Fighter weapon as well, alongside Rage Dagger with the Flameborn Staff, and Missing with the Fire Shield, the Bulwark weapon coming on through. We have a battle of our top 2 players currently in this lobby. Warfighter and Yadya Sanya coming on through. Looking like it's going to be here for the green side, here for Warfighter. It's going to rely here on this TNT to truly get the job done. Meanwhile, Yadya's going for this Nimble Floor Links. It's a little bit rough around the edges, though, in terms of stats, but it at least has the burst damage attached to that Omega. That, alongside the Valente, is going to do absolute work here. It's going to be Yadya Sanya going to continue this win streak here, sitting at 100. Of course, we're going to be playing on Abyssal Basin, so round 15, we're going to be getting a Composite Imprint Crate coming on through. So players do not have necessarily that much time to get at least the core of their team kind of built up, as otherwise that crate could give you something that you do not actually wish to have. So it is going to be something a little bit problematic. Have you ever felt like you had the better team but still lost? Have that happen too? It can definitely be at your very least try your damnedest to determine it based off of a positional mistake as much as possible. Because it's very, very easy to just cope. It's like, oh, they out-leveled me, or something along those lines, or this team is overpowered. But you do have to kind of just take a step back, see what you can do. If you have the opportunity to even record your matches and watch them back later, that's what I know I do a lot personally for any of these matches that I've put on stream. I'll watch them back and I'll see exactly where I screwed up in terms of economy, in terms of positioning. There's many things that I can have done better. And would that have won me the game instead? Maybe, maybe not. Are they higher level to the point where I can't contest with them? Maybe, maybe not. But if you're not playing perfectly, then you can't necessarily just assume that something's overpowered or there was nothing you can do there. At least that's my take on it. And good morning, Fox Oracle, of course. Hope you're having a fantastic day. I mean, I'd argue that positioning's everything. You can have, like, I mean, a level 1 going up a level 60, I mean, you can be positioned however you want. You're going to get cooked as the level 1 player. But I know personally, a lot of my Illuvials are around 30 to 40, maybe. And I'm going up against, like, Dr. Spoon, for example, or I'm going up against Junior, who have these level 60 Illuvials and these really, really incredible teams. But I can still take rounds off them if I have my team lined up perfectly in the, like, best case kind of scenario. So it's not everything. Like, obviously level things up as best as you can, but while you are the underdog in terms of level, you can still make the comeback. Looking here with Warfighter Hype alongside Toxic. So this is second and third currently on the roster here. Let's take a look. It's going to be this Nimble Lynx here. So Toxic trying the damnedest, even though this Lynx doesn't necessarily have the most amount of damage. Gonna try. It is going to end up getting targeted down and taken down. Warfighter's TNT alongside the Railu actually doing some fantastic work. Right down to the very, very bitter end until the monk here falls. One more shot. The fact that this TNT has the Arcane Conduit on this as well, or that attack power is just being added in as Omega, these shots hurt. And we do see that Warfighter is currently going for what looks like to be a Sepphoris. Is anybody else going for it? Actually, Mothpuck here does have a TNT as well, but they don't have any on the bench, it looks like. So it's not too heavily contested. Especially with tier 1s, you can absolutely have somebody else have a middle stage evolution on the board, and it's still okay to roll for it, because there's still so many tier 1s in the game that you can collect. It gets scary when 2 or more people are contesting the same tier 1, though. So that's why with mud players especially, rolling for all the tier 1 units, if you see 2 or 3 people running monkeys as well, like we see here in this instance, Never Lose has actually been doing so much rolling to try and get all of them, the mud monkeys, even though they don't have mud on the ranger. I want to take a look at this actually. Is Never Lose playing an actual player? Yeah, they're actually playing Sanya here. So this is actually really, really interesting to me, because the way that they've played this is setting up for Revenant. In theory, they could go for Mystic if they really, really wanted to, for like some sort of Granite Mystic kind, or not Granite Mystic, but Magma Mystic kind of style. But this is an interesting take on what looks to be a mud team, even though it's not necessarily a traditional mud team. A lot of emphasis being put here onto this level 40 Exalted Gorilla to kind of carry the squad here. Let's see how this does here versus Sanya, who of course does have this Nimble Floor Lynx loaded up here with the old Power Ascent, being able to get a ton of health and damage reduction. If it can make it to that 15-second mark, it is absolutely going to be able to do so. A max health of almost 7,000. It's a rogue, but yet it is an absolute tank. And you've got this Gyro here with you. Level 41, and it's got all the offensive stats that you want. That is going to be a tough combo to crack here. Never Lose will end up falling in this one. Knocked down to about 61 HP, it does look like. Yeah, Mud is definitely a risky play, but I mean, we've been seeing how good Junior and other players have been doing with playing Mud over the last couple of days. It's just super, super strong if you do actually hit it. And the fact that if you hit it, but not too late. There's a lot of players that I know that try to go for it who will end up essentially sitting on level 5 the entire game. Finally hit the units, but they have 12 health left. And then you have to play perfectly, which is just so tough to do. As we now go into our next battle here, where we've got Toxic up against Mouthpuck from Monarch. Let's see, we've got Empaths and Templars coming out here on the red side. Meanwhile, a Fighter Predator style coming out here on the green side here for Toxic. Oddly enough, and appropriately enough, playing with this Riptorus, but the poor little guy is going to end up getting shredded. But the main carry here for Toxic is still alive, but look at just these Empaths and the Rogues doing work. We do have the Ranger also in the south side of the arena, just being able to pepper away for free. So while the front line all died, the flankers and the Empaths were able to hold strong and keep themselves in the game quite nicely. Economy check here, let's take a look. So Warfighter and Toxic, holy smokes, they are rich. They are doing a fantastic job of just kind of being patient, waiting for their chance to roll with maximum economy. Mouthpuck's not far behind though, kind of in the middle road with 50 over. But look at Sanya, look at Neverlose. Single digits. Neverlose has nothing in the tank. That is absolutely scary to try and do this. Because if you don't hit, you are going to be in such a rough spot. You have to try and essentially do a perfect game and go on a win streak at that point if you go this play. Otherwise, you could very well be cooked. As we do see here with Sanya taking down Toxic. Once again, this Lynx is just absolute trouble. It's not even a perfect Lynx. So again, you can do well. You don't need perfect Illuvials. You just have to have something. Something that's yours. That you can level and get used to using. That is all you need. Yes, when we get into tournaments, when we're talking about the top 10 players all battling out, and they're positioning perfectly, if everything goes perfectly, then okay, stats will matter. But just have something, as we now have Neverlose up against Toxic now. Neverlose, they go for mud and just not hit. Is that's what happened here? It might very well have been. And it's not looking too great. I know they're looking for this Exalted Gorilla to get the job done, but it's in a weird little 1v4. It's trying its damage to dip and dodge, and I mean, it's doing pretty good, all things considered, but it is not going to be enough. The Riptorus and the Nimble Lynx are going to be able to take this down. Live streaming it, that's brilliant. It's got room and space. Hey, there can be 100 more of me, and I would be very, very excited and happy. Because at the end of the day, the more people that are casting, the more people that are streaming. There's a reason why in the This Week in Illuvium section that I'm throwing out a community section, giving shoutouts to everybody who's streaming. I want to see more people streaming this game. I want to see more people making content. If they make stuff that's better than mine, that's great. It gives me something to look up to, and it gives me possibly more people to work with. And at the end of the day, it's getting more eyes on the game. I will never be upset. Like somebody, what was it? Fungible. Fungible also did a Town Hall recap video on Illuvium Town Hall Week. I could be butthurt about it and be like, oh, what the heck? I'm supposed to be the one who does it. I should be the only one making Illuvium. No! Get more eyes on it. And like, I'm happy about that. So, yeah, nobody will ever offend me for hopping in and doing commentary. Nobody will offend me for hopping in and doing Illuvium content. Like, I joke around with Scoriox here and there about like some of the way he handles his thumbnails or whatnot, but no, I'm happy. Like I've said before, we're all partners in this, not competitors. So I want to see more of you guys. You'll never offend me. This is a great way to practice commentating while also making potential. Yeah, my channel's not monetized. I don't make a damn thing doing this week after week. So this is all just practice and for fun here for me. As we do see Toxic, there we go. This is what we're looking for here. They've got the Jokul now on board and even got the Forest as well. They've turned it into another Toxic. That's 4 Toxic now available here. appropriate to the name. Toxic is playing toxic. You love to see it. We've also gotten to the point here where we have all of our players. All the bots are dead, so we can actually have some solid matches every single time. And right now, Toxic looking like they're in the best position in regards to credits. If they were going for Mud, this is kind of rough, but they've at least pivoted this into a Berserker Toxic style. They need to hit that Rip Lance, though. If they do not, they're going to be in for a absolute world of hurt as we go on forth. They're just not going to have the firepower to deal with some of these other players. Like we do see Sanya coming on up here with a rogue style. Let's see, rogue Vanguard. They don't have the slashing, but again, they're kind of making up for it. The fact that they do have this nimble Flora Lynx here to just get some big burst damage done. Hit the right target. It doesn't matter if you go untargetable or not. If that Lynx is already casting, it's already too late for you. The emergency button's already been procced here onto that Jokul here for Toxic, doing okay, but the rogue, the Lynx has gone down. That's a lot of low health bars, but at the end of the day, they stay standing. Sanya seems to be falling here. Toxic is doing a great job making the comeback, even though Mud did not hit. How about Warfighter? Middle of the line here, and close to that maximum amount of credits or maximum amount of income. They did not end up hitting the Sephoris, though, so the Invoker side of things is going to be delayed. Delayed big time, but they do find Blotto, so that is quite the big hiccup in regards to a front line. Let's take a look at our top two players. I mean, we've seen Sanya a little bit earlier going for the Rogue. They do have no more credits in the bank. This is actually kind of troublesome here from Sanya. I'm not sure if they get out of this alive, because they are going to be chasing a Penguin that is just not showing up. Meanwhile, like we see here with the Blotto, we have the Goliath here as well coming out for Warfighter. This is just such a tough angle to try and take. These bunkers are already so hard to break down. You need some sort of burst, or you need that slash in to truly make it pop, and it is not working. This was just jumping into a brick wall. Warfighter looking like an absolute menace to try and deal with here. Let's look at Warfighter one more time here as they go up against Mothbook. Monarch, what have you got? We've got 4 Spore. I have not seen this in a very long time. Let's take a look and see what we've got going forth here with the Spore kind of style. Familiar with the Legendary Augment. And this is an absolute beauty. You want something to tackle a corner. I mean, a Vermilier could definitely do that. You have the Adorito here for a little bit of support from the background as well. But while there is Spore all over the place, they have Sustain. Do they have the burst to actually get through the bunker here of Warfighter, to get through this tank line? They didn't really necessarily move the Vermilier to jump into the back line, so they're going to opt for a front-to-back kind of approach, which I'd argue that Warfighter has the better chance with. But that Ranger did dive directly into the bunker, but it's shooting the tanks, oddly enough. Now it's on to the Furiox, at least. Basically uncontested, but it's going to have to get out of dodge before it gets popped. Goes untargetable, and it is going to zoom on out. But you can see just the front-to-back style. They needed to get to that back line. They needed to blow up the Furiox and the Fur Knight, and it did not get touched at all. Blotto and Goliath, this is the kind of game they want to play. They want to play you front-to-back, and that is exactly why. Absolutely run over with that 4 Earth, 4 Granite style. They don't even need 3 Bulwarks. They don't even need 5. Does not matter. They don't need the boost. It's tanky. Just alone, or just that pair alone is tanky enough to get the job done. And they're adding more. A Singe is here, and a scary one at that. Phosphorus online for Toxic. We are going to have the Big Bird make an appearance alongside a Jotun. What a recovery here for Toxic, because again, they were going for Mud, but they eventually got to the point where they realized that if I keep going for this, I am going to get myself in trouble. They leveled up a little bit, went for alternative carries, and as of right now, are looking quite good. Let's get Toxic here in the green side, this time by And look at this guy here, but that's actually heartbreaking here for Toxic. They leveled up to a Phosphorus, but they don't actually own a Phosphorus. So even though this is the final stage evolution, it has no levels. It's level 1. It's going to be squishy. It's missing out on so much damage. I'd argue that maybe something else might be better as the carry. Look at this Malura, for example. It's on the right track. It wants to dive in. Let's see. Let's get a better angle on this. What on earth is that angle? Let's not try that one again. But let's see. Phosphorus from the back line. Can we get maybe some DPS charts here to see on how this is going to end up going? And it's not going well at all, unfortunately, here for Toxic. Going up against a squad from Warfighter. And this is an instance where level meant everything, because level 1 is too hard to fight back from. But if you had a Phosphorus and it was just level 40, you can win with that. So it definitely hurts here for Toxic to have not been able to catch one of those. And now we have potentially 3 players on death's door here. We'll stay with these 2 because I believe we're guaranteed an elimination here in this battle. Slashin has showed up, Slashin online now, here for Sanya. Is that going to be what helps them keep themselves in this game? They are still relying on the Nimble Floor Links to be the one to be the carry. How about Jotun here on the side of Toxic? Not too bad, they've actually turned the Jotun into the Toxic. But one mistake here for positioning-wise. This Phosphorus, if it doesn't move, you have Berserker's Flurry. Why are you going point blank with the Kukaloose? It is going to be a problematic time, and it's going to get focused down immediately. Emergency button immediately popped right off the rip, but thankfully it does keep it alive for maybe just a little bit longer, but not long enough. How about Jotun? Is Jotun and the rest of the squad doing okay? They're one-on-one here with the slash, and they chomp them down. Toxic's Polar Bear. The Jotun going to get the job done, and with it being a 3-on-1 against the Lynx, that's not going to be enough. Sanya is going to be out of here in 4th. Did happen off screen as well, but we did lose Never Lose in 5th place there, so unfortunate there for Never Lose. But we have ourselves the podium. Our top 3 is here. I have time for 2 more casts here today, so make sure once this game finishes up and you want to be on stream, queue up, get into it. Nerf the snake, no, just blow it up. just find a way to blow it up. Mothpuck did actually go down, and actually, what a turn here for Warfighter, using everything in the bank to go for a bunch of plays, a bunch of upgrades in this last possible opportunity. What a play. I was sitting at about, I think, 50 or 70 credits or so. You're able to get the Scoriox, able to get the Blazonites as well. And then Sepphoris is here. Oh my goodness, this is going to be painful. Warfighter, they have hit the pocket rockets, double aces, as we're going to see what happens when the squad goes up against the Toxic Polar Bear. But we're just seeing it's basically running into a brick wall on every single cast, every single auto attack. We are seeing that green health bars get chunked, and Warfighter finding exactly what they needed. Gonna win this lobby and take the game. Nicely done there from Warfighter. I like what they did there. Didn't hyperfixate on getting the Sepphoris to truly go for Invoker. Just leveled up instead, built the front line, got the Blotto. And with this double front line, it's very, very easy to want to just go for 5 bulwarks. I know, at least for myself personally, I find myself just pushing for 5 bulwarks even if I don't have to, because I worry about my bunker or worry about my backline just being so susceptible to being blown up. But Warfighter showing right then and there that if you have a well-trained and strong front line with those 2 Illuvials, you don't need all the buffs that you get from Bulwark 3 or Bulwark 5. That you could potentially, just with 2, get the job done quite nicely. I'm going to reboot my game real quick. But we'll get into another one in just a moment's time. Water and medicine break. Be right back. All right. But yeah, sorry if it sounded a little aggressive there for a sec when I was talking about nerfing things. From all my time in esports and in college esports, when I hear people, or when I see people, I say cry, but when I see them cry about something needing a nerf or something being overpowered, I need to see data before I make that specific call out. I'm always more prone and more open to the idea that maybe there was something else I could have done to make the fix and make a change there, instead of something just being downright broken. Like, let's be honest. Slashing in patch 1.12, when you would constantly get a Revenant chip and throw it on it, that was broken because you literally couldn't kill the damn thing. There were ways that you can get close to playing around it, but you needed the perfect game. So your chances at actually getting it was so slim, so I'd argue that was OP. But I'd argue, even as much as I rip on Umber right now, they can play around and say how it runs away with games. It runs away with games because it's had the exact support it's needed with the exact drone augments it needs and all of the backup that it could possibly want in the backline. So yeah, if everything lines up and you get the perfect team composition, it's broken. But isn't that how it's supposed to be played? When you get the perfect team composition, it feels broken regardless of what you play? Okay, we'll wait for the next game here. The current game, Last to Go, I believe, has a handful of bots in here. So if there's anybody that wants to get casted, queue up for rank right here, right now. The next game that starts is going to be the one that I cast. Yes, this is the Totofi line. One thing that I personally like doing, I'm not sure if chat's caught on to this or not, but whatever I'm actually wearing, I try to match as close as I can to the skin that I'm currently in game. So when I'm wearing the blue one, for example, I'll have Axodon on or something like that. If I have my orange shirt, I think I have my Lynx suit that I go into. I'm very, very thankful to have had the opportunity to be able to snag a bunch of skins prior to going down. And then even in the last one on Monday's stream, I had the red shirt on, right? So I was putting on the Alfie suit instead. Something I just... the small little things that grant happiness. Yeah, I need to get ranking, though. Dropped all the way down to 25? Damn. I am falling behind. Oh, here we go. Next game online. Did we get a... okay, almost. I think there's 6 out of 8. Maybe 5 out of 8. Not bad. And yes, Fox Oracle, I did find your game. That's going to be next year. But you have a killer lobby. That is going to be crazy. Quickly let our rounds go through here. I don't want to join while it's on round 0, because sometimes that's when a crash happens. Now we can move. All right. Next game coming up right here, right now. Let's get on into it. Okay, next game that we're going to cast here. And it's a ranked game, but we're going to cast this like a full-fledged esports event. Let's get this one going. This ranked match going to be on Crimson Ways. The players are going to start at level 3, so that's why even though we're only on round 3, we're seeing a couple of these players already make round 4, round 5, and so on and so forth a little bit more. Let's take a look at our players. We got Wrecking, I believe is a bot, if I can recall correctly. Let me double check and see what they happen to have. And I see level 1s. I assume that it ends up being a bot. Unfortunately, Bondaddy Ratty actually had to jump out of this one, so a little bit of a heartbreaker there. Nine Mirrors, I believe, is also either new or a bot. Same thing here with Hex Maps. But we do have a couple of players here to take a look at. We have Ziffet. We have Junior 3, your current ranked leader. We have Seru-san. And we've got Fox Oracle from Phantom. Trying to see if we can find a battle between two actual players. Do we get that just yet? Not exactly. We'll highlight here, Ziffet here as we move forth with taking a look at what the weapons ends up actually being this time by. What seems to be most popular. Let's go over the boss real quick first because they've got themselves the Nature Fighter Sword. We've got Hex Maps with the Scion Nature Weapon, and we do have Wrecking with the Ember Shield. But how about our players here today? What are they rocking? Junior 3 has the Nature Sword, the Grove Sword, as well. Potentially some Berserker play, which again, I've referenced it a handful of times here on stream. They've been playing a ton of Mud. Maybe this is an alternative way of playing, or maybe you're putting the emphasis on maybe a Rip Lance. We'll have to see a little bit later. We have the Ember Buckler coming out here from Ziffet. We have Seru-san with the Fire Scion Lava Gauntlet. And then we have Fox Oracle, classic Strike Boomerang, the fire fighting ranged boomerang. See how this one ends up going, but let's take a look at our two top players currently in battle. Junior and Ziffet. As of right now, the front line for Junior has fallen, but the back line is still there. Based off the animation, it looks like Junior took the hit. Let's see what happens. Was the Fleesh and the Caradulo just doing a fantastic job of holding the line and getting the elimination? It looks like that's exactly what happened here. The Flish stays alive, and Archos up against the Caradulo. Let's be honest, that's going to take such a long time for the Archos to get anything done. They might actually get the job done in the end, but they still have to deal with that Fleesh, which is just peppering them from afar, and it will end up taking Junior down. Let's take a look. Fox versus Junior. Here we go. Take a look at what Fox is going for right now. It's currently linked up, making this Ranger a rogue. You do have the Nimble Lynx as well. That does have maxed out attack damage, so this Nimble Lynx is going to hit like a truck. But Junior, I don't see them pick up an Archos very often, and I think I see why. It's unfortunately not one of their strongest Illuvials compared to what I've seen before. But of course, it's still very, very good at holding that back line. It's being able to do a nice job up against Fox Oracle's Greater Monk here, or not Monk here, the Greater Gorilla rather. It's in the back line, could not keep the Flish alive though. Now the Gorilla's starting to run amok alongside the rest of the squad. Junior going to be having a little bit of a hard time here as Fox Oracle going to take them down. We head to the NPC round. Let's see what everybody's cooking up with. Fox spending a little bit early, not caring about the interest at all. No passive income here, only Lynxes. I am biased. I like that playstyle. You know, I love me some Lynxes. So here's to see what's the evolved Lynx here this time. Let's take a look. Where did the Lynx go? There you are. It ends up being a Fire Lynx, so actually it lines up quite nicely here with what Fox is already going for. And potentially, unironically going Slayer could potentially be something. I definitely wouldn't wish that upon Fox, but I've seen Fox do that before. Slayer probably being one of the more underutilized classes as of this moment. Just doesn't necessarily have the impact that a lot of these other classes end up going for. I'm curious if that'll be a temporary thing or if they happen to find something to swap to. Seru-san also going for a lot of rolls early, right down to 0. Some very heavy spenders. Meanwhile, we've got Ziffet and then we've got Junior, who are just completely content at holding the line and getting what they get to try and hang on to that economy. Let's see if Fox Oracle here can take down Ziffet. Fox has the 2-level advantage and a lot of firepower. I believe that's a little mule that also got attached to the team here, right now. tanky little guy gonna come on through. Level 20, gonna get the job done with this little Chuko just nipping away here at it. But the rest of the friends have come on forth. Fox Oracle is going to stop Zifit's win streak and now take the lead of the lobby. Very expensive way to play, but we'll see if they can keep the ball rolling here. Top two players will stick with it one more time here with Fox Oracle alongside Seiru-san. Seiru up to level 6, does not actually own the Kukulus. Does not actually own really anything, unfortunately, it looks like here. So going up against Fox Oracle with a bunch of level 1s. I mean, they've got the synergy portion down. They've got 6 fires, so that is a ton of firepower. But with the fact that they're missing out on levels, that could be the difference maker here as long as Fox Oracle's team can survive. They've got plenty of damage. A little Scarabok has also showed up into the fray here for Fox Oracle to try and help tanking. It's going to go for a little bit of a stroll, but you're seeing where the level 1s can definitely have some trouble. It's not necessarily only in the damage, but it's in survival. With every level that you're missing, you are just that much squishier compared to your opponent's counterparts. So that's where the interconnectivity of Illuvium's entire universe kind of comes on through here. Because you can, like I was saying before, you can make the comeback if you have like a level 20 or a level 30 or something like that going up against level 50s and 60s. But level 1s are so hard to work with. Which is honestly why, for somebody who might be getting into Illuvium now, who might be new to it, I actually feel like this is such a rough time right now for them to be able to do so. Because they're going to be learning the game as level 1s. And unless you're playing casual, you're just going to get beat. So unless that you specifically buy Illuvials off the market, you're going to have a hard time because you can't even go out and catch the Illuvials yourself right now if you wanted to. You're just kind of stuck open in packs, which is not the true experience. I wish they would have had the opportunity to keep on catching. Of course, Overworld going down kind of puts the pressure onto the marketplace, which not everybody's going to be a fan of as of this moment. We do see Zifit just completely run over Junior in this instance. Junior looks like they're trying to make the pivot over to Mud. I see a lot of the Earth units coming on through. Is anybody really contesting them? I mean, Fox Oracle has both the Greater Gorilla as well as the Greater Monk here. So while they don't have the Exalteds, they're at least taking a couple off of the field. Take a look here with Junior and Seiru-san. Again, Seiru's got the 6 fire coming on through. Meanwhile, I don't know, let's go with this. This is what everybody likes, just keeping it default, right? Meanwhile, here for Junior, they're trying to maybe slowly build up some sort of toxic, some sort of mud squad, but they've not necessarily committed as of yet. How much credits do they have still? I mean, they're still sitting at 74, so I mean, income-wise, they are in a good position to maybe make a comeback later. As long as they don't take too much heat in the process, which as they go through Seiru, the level difference is going to make a big difference, not to mention the hyper difference. With there being so many fires, and your team consists of earth and water, I mean, you put out that fire rather nicely. Unfortunately here for Seiru, going to end up falling. Down to 71, still very, very early in this game though, still plenty of time to make the comeback, flood the board, find some evolutions. They might be level 1, but maybe synergy and board presence can be enough. We'll have to see as the game goes on. But as of this moment, it is going to be Fox Oracle lined up with this current lobby lead, only taking the 3 damage from early in the game, and is currently 1 away from finding the fully evolved links. Of course, again, the links for this one is the fire one, so it would go well currently with the fire weapon that the Ranger is currently holding, but I do see what the end of what Fox Oracle will end up pivoting to. We do now have Berserker online to maybe try and enable this Greater Monk here a little bit more. 3 fighters plus the 2 Berserker, not too shabby. Fox going up against the bot, they'll handle this quite nicely, but we do have Seru versus Zifit. Want to see how this one goes. Another similar spot. Is this everybody pushing for Earth units nowadays? So note to self, when I go into ranked, I'm just going to spam water. I mean, it's basically been my plan anyway. I'm basically, if I were to say that I main a certain strategy, it's water or toxic. So I mean, I haven't had a good record versus Junior, but I could sometimes pull it off, for example, going up against all these mud units. But that's just me. I'm not in this game. The players here are. Let's see, Zifit versus Seru. Got the two Tibirukos, or not Tibirukos, the Tiruros. The two Rus diving on in and just getting absolutely clobbered here as soon as that Tianti gets a chance to actually take the shot. Absolute massacre coming out here from Zifit. And that's another Nimble Lynx for Fox Oracle, which if I recall correctly does mean, there you are, hello beautiful. That is going to be the Nimble Ember Lynx making an appearance here in this battle, right in time to go up against Junior. Let's take a look, and holy smokes, this is actually a fantastic Lynx coming out here from Fox Oracle. I'm not even glazing just because they're a longtime viewer and supporter here on the channel. Look at this thing. That is absolutely gorgeous. Oftentimes, you have to actually deliberately pivot 100%. You can have a game plan going in, but sometimes hard fixating on it could cost you dearly. Let's see here what Fox Oracle ends up doing versus Junior. Junior does have a ton of augments onto this Greater Monk here that has a lot of offensive stats, but it is going to be immediately shredded down. On every Omega that this Lynx casts, it just bursts through everything. But everything else on the side of Fox Oracle has absolutely been shredded. There's a support, there's the Gorilla. The Gorilla gets out a dodge here, a 2-on-2 finish, a good stun coming out here from the Apon. Can the Gorilla burst down the Lynx in time? I don't think so. It's going to be close. Oh my gosh, one final shot. The fact that that Greater Gorilla had that Restorating Impact Reactor to give it just a little bit more time, a little bit more health, is going to be enough to take Fox Oracle down. Junior hanging on by a thread. Junior's up against Wrecking. Zifit is up against Hex Maps. We're going to start losing some of our bots here in just a moment's time. So let's bring it back here with Fox Oracle up against Seru. Let's get Seru in the green side this time. Again, the 6 Fire coming up here versus the Fighter Berserker. A little bit of a fire mix. You got Predator online now here as well for Fox. So lots of buffs coming on through. That Lynx is going to almost immediately pop down. The Arctase gets it down to half extremely quickly and now has returned to finish the job alongside that Chikoral and the rest of the Earth units as well. All that's left is the little Ru Cup here for Seru-san, and unfortunately for Seru, they're going to get absolutely taken down once again. Big hit after big hit. Fox Oracle in second now, right behind Zifit by just a single point of health. X Maps is going to be out of here, so we're down to 6. Do we lose 9 mirrors as well to get us down to just 1 bot left? Here in just a second, hop on over, see what happens. Does look like 9 mirrors is out of here, so let's hop on over back to Zifit. We have a battle between our top 2. Here we go. So we've been following Fox Oracle a lot. We know what's going on. We've got the fighters and we've got that Lynx. Of course, it's going to be absolutely devastating. What did Zifit end up going for here? It is a honest, solid mixture of what feels like everything. This is just a solid team comp in general in terms of classes. Not hard focusing in on any sort of strategy in particular, but it does kind of flow quite nicely. You've got that Caraduloc's going to be leading the charge, doing a fantastic job of holding the front line. But what about the back line, as that's going to be the Lynx getting peppered? It's been focused, and there is no get out of jail free card here for that Lynx. Don't have the Restorating Impact Reactor or the Phase Breaker, so will be focused down. The Furiox just had so much time to just open fire with that amplified damage from the Apon, and there was no way for the Lynx to break focus. So unfortunately, it does get targeted down rather quickly. It blew through a couple of the empaths, but it could not get to the actual damage dealers, and that is going to be Zifit putting the win in that one. We're setting up for a quite exciting mid to late game Well, Fox spent a lot early to get the links and get a couple of these Earth units. Junior and Ziffit, who have not spent really much at all, now have themselves in a position where they're starting to find some of these units that they want. They have a lot of the economy. They've got max interest. And now somebody's win streak has to go down now. And as we see here in the chat, can't seem to roll a Scorpion. I definitely get it. We take a look here. Junior does have one, and the Fox has one. I mean, it's only the 2 players, so I mean, you're kind of stuck racing them for the Riplants. But unfortunately here for Fox, they don't necessarily have the credits to truly race for that Riptorus because the links got prioritized. So it's unfortunate where they got themselves into a position where they can't necessarily go for everything. That is so close as well. Oh, it's literally just 1 Scorpion away. That is definitely a heartbreaker. Well, watch this next battle at hand here. Junior has found some mud units, does have the Exalted Monk here now, and honestly, that's the carry of the squad. If there's 1 mud unit that you want to find, that's probably it. The invulnerability right off the rip as well just gave it so much time to just open fire onto that tank. The Caradullox, that's a tanky boy, and it immediately went down. Ziffit could be in for a world of hurt here. These fighters might just be too much, but the monk here actually can't get into the fray. Can they finally get in there? They absolutely will. You've got the Riptorus as well as that Fern in the background line doing some decent damage as well. And that's going to be Junior. Now that they've found their mud units, or at least one of their mud units, the snowball is kind of rolling a little bit. Let's now take a look. We've got Fox Oracle now here next for Ziffit. But we also have Junior potentially going to be able to knock out Seiryu-san if they're not able to win this battle here. And this is a rough one. This is what I would definitely consider a hard counter based off of Hyper, because this is rough. You've got a bunch of water and earth units ready to get super effective up against Seiryu-san's fire. I see a world of hurts coming in here for Seiryu-san. They're probably going to drop out of here in 4th. The team is just essentially tailor-made to shred what Seiryu-san has. I love the ram fight coming on through here. Gets the cast off, does some pretty decent damage, but there's just too many Illuvials left to go. Seiryu-san gonna get out of here. Junior finds the Exalted App on us. We transition on over to the next one. No, we couldn't catch the next one live, so let's hop to a battle between our top 2. Junior does pick up the Exalted App-on, did not have to roll too hard for it. Still has 68 credits in the bank. Ziffit, on the other hand, what are they essentially trying to build? Is there some sort of Steam option in this one? It does look like that might be exactly what they're going for. Steam Vanguard, oddly enough, going to be coming on through, but they don't have Vanguard online. They're just getting the Steam to try and enable this Rake, but the Rake also doesn't have any sort of augments to truly amplify its damage. So while it is getting the Steam buff and the Bloom buff coming up here for the Phosphorus, I don't think that's going to be enough to maybe win this fight. We'll have to see if they can maybe get onto the carries. The Rake is onto the foe and onto the Riptorus, but now that the Monk here is kind of turned on it, even with the Untargetable, they're able to dissuade the Monk here from that Rake. It's going to absolutely shred on through. Junior squad doing a fantastic job in that one. Ziffit getting knocked down to 51, now going up against Fox. Let's take a look at this battle at hand here. Ramp fight coming online now here for Fox Oracle. Is going to get some playtime right here, right now. That brings Fox Oracle up to 5 fires, 1 away from that 6 fire super buff. Potentially level up and throw another Alluvial on here. Did see Ziffit push up to level 9. Fox Oracle going to be 2 levels down, but again, does not necessarily have the credits to keep pushing any further than that. So let's see here as Ziffit. Very, very tanky mixed squad between the Bloom and the Steam, looking for the Rake, looking for the Forest. Up against Fox Oracle, whose ramp fight goes to the skies. It's going to nearly burst down that Forest. It's extremely close. It is going to be able to take it down, but the Lynx has been focused once again. It goes directly into the Caradullox and the Rake. Unfortunate here for Fox Oracle. They will be shredded on down. There's just too much damage from too many places, and they've been able to hold the line. Ziffit with a huge pickup though. Phosphorus online, And this is what we're talking about. Level 44, maxed out on attack damage, good attack speed as well, good health, good movement speed. I mean, Phosphorus has fantastic movement speed, even if it was at level 0, but to have that max is quite nice as well. And you do have level 2 for Omega Power. A nice little setup there onto that Phosphorus. You have Bloom here as well. If only that was the Earth Buckler, and you can then get an additional Bloom, bring it up to maybe 3, because I don't think the 2 Steam is truly going to make an impact here when we do go up against Ziffit. But I mean, is there anything else truly that Ziffit could really do in this instance to find maybe a different alternative? I'd say go Wildfire, but you don't have Krunk, so never mind about that. Inferno can't work, so I mean, honestly, Steam just might be the only option truly available in this instance. We're going to quickly hop on over to Fox Oracle, who is going up against Junior. This is a kill shot if Fox can't pull it off. Pushes to level 8 at the last possible second. What Illuvium did they get on the board in the last possible second? Did not end up seeing what it ended up being, but let's see how this fight ends up going. Where's the Lynx? It's dealing with the Fernite. It immediately is going to help take it down. A good little pickup, but where's that Monk here? This is where things get scary, with the Zerg Swarm comes on through, and unfortunately, there's nothing you can do there as the Monkey comes on through. Vox Oracle going to be eliminated here in 3rd place. It's the scary part about the early economy game. It's such a fantastic boost off the start, but it does put you at risk for burning out late. So a good game, good attempt there, Fox Oracle. If you want to do it again afterwards, I've got one more game with me. You want to try and queue up after this. And if you did your best, honestly, that's all we can ask for. So again, GG's. As we hop into our top 2, Ziffit versus Junior. I think Ziffit has maybe 2 lives left here. 26 HP. A little bit of spending going on 4th here, bringing themselves pretty low. They've gotten another Goliath online, so a Titanor could potentially be the answer to having some of this, some of these fighters go away. But maybe also this Arcanite Furiox in the backline could be something to do some damage. With the Monkier going for a very massive walk as well, it does slow things down. Phosphorus has just had an open season, free to go open fire, but look at Monkier as well. It has basically shredded everything. Incredible positioning there for Junior to allow that Monkier to go all the way around the left side, completely uncontested, shredding on through. And Junior's, they still have full economy. They, in theory, should know the kill shot is here, and they can spend basically everything to try and get the finishing blow. And then with Fox Oracle unfortunately being knocked out here, it means all of those Riptors, they're back in the pool. We see them loading up. Do they find the Berserker? Do they find the Rip Lance as that final finishing blow potentially? There it is. Big Boy is here. As if this team didn't have enough damage already. Now you've got a Rip Lance to try and deal with. Look how fast these 2 tanks just absolutely get shredded. Cardalox was not long for this world, and neither was the Goliath. But can the damage dealers on the green side potentially find some of the, maybe the Monkier, maybe find the Forest? Phosphorus goes down so quickly. Riplance and Monkier are still here, still firing away, and that is going to be Junior 3. They're your ranked leader for a reason. They're going to win this next lobby after taking quite a beating early, making the comeback. GG's. Got stuck rolling for Monkey, fair enough. Settled for Berserker Magma. Thunder Tank being a Singe. Sincere. I see. Definitely an interesting way to play it out. Not a bad way by any means. It would have definitely, like, Junior 100% would have been your hard matchup between the water, earth, and the mud. But it had damage. Like, that part was good. Just especially the early economy portion. The rolling for monkeys just put you behind pretty considerably in terms of economy. So when it came time to level up, unfortunately, you took a lot of damage. If I were to try and like just briefly analyze what I saw. Yeah. But GG's nonetheless. Got one more in the tank here today. Had one just start up, actually. All right. Let's see. Final game of the day here. One more time here. One more ranked game for commentary here today. We're back on Crimson Waste, but this one's going to be a little bit different, where players are just going to take more drone damage every single loss. In terms of players, let's see who we got here this time by, as players would have just selected their weapons. We'll go through them here in just a moment's time. Sanya makes a return, but everybody else here is new to the stream here for today. We've got Illuvium Hunter, who was up on the rankings, at least in last season. I'm not 100% sure about this season, but we know they're a fantastic player. We've got HQ Watcher. I believe they are a bot. I'm going to double check here in just a second. Okay, then we do have Gypsy Hype. We have Kirito Hype. We have Knifely, who's new to me. Do they have any of their own alluvials? Does not look like it. Boomer Mousepad, I believe that one's a bot. And then we have Uzla. Uzla Ray Seagal. That's a first for me. And let's go from the top here. Let's take a look and see what Illuvium Hunter is doing as we take a look at the weapons being picked up here for today's game, or this final game here of today. Illuvium Hunter are going to be picking up the Lava Gauntlet, that Fire Scion weapon. You see Gypsy Hype going to be picking up the Grove Sword, Nature Fighter going their way. We do see Sylphid Blade coming out here from Kirito. We know it's coming. It's going to be Mud Time, more than likely, coming out here from Kirito Hype. And then we have Sanya with the Grove Sword as well. I'm seeing a lot of Grove Sword over the last two games. Pretty interesting, to say the least. Then our final four players here, we do have Knife League with the Earth Empath weapon. We have HQ with the Ember Buckler, that Fire Sword, or Fire Bulwark weapon. We then have Boomer Mousepad picking up the Aqua Blaster, Water Scion, and then last but not least, Uzla we do have with the Earth Rogue weapon. In terms of some quick pickups here, as of right now, I mean, Illuvium Hunter's already got the Railu, so a nice quick pickup. Potentially go for Arcanite if they do wish to go that route. Of course, a long time before you could find yourself the Furiox, but at least that is on the table with the weapon. Inferno Arcanite could very well be a thing. Does have to claim for a little bit of extra frontline support as well. Gypsy Hype with a little bit of a mix match, but when in doubt, flood the board with Lynxes and just wait. So far, so good there. Picking up a Greater Monk here there for themselves. Kirito Hype looking for a couple of these Earth Alluvials, but as of right now, not going to find any of them. Finds the little Caribou instead, but at the same time, they do at least have the Chikoro. So that is, of course, the Greater Gorilla's essentially best dive partner to add Predator bonuses for that little execution damage as well. And Sanya does have the Relentless Lynx, so it's a Fighter Lynx this time coming on through. See here in just a second. Where is Sanya again? Let's go here. What kind of Lynx do we get today? It's the Earth Lynx coming on through, so the Relentless Terra Lynx. potentially if you wanted to go all the way there. And honestly, with what it looks like here for Sanya, they're going to absolutely be able to do so. And there it is, Relentless Terralinks already here at round 8, a huge power spike. As long as they can capitalize on it. They've got 3 fighters, so there's lots of attack speed coming on through. And we'll get to see what this Lynx does in a little bit. I want to see if there's a player-on-player battle here. First, it does not look like it, so let's watch as this Terralinx just goes for an absolute killing spree across this entire squad. Maybe see if we can get a little bit of a cinematic shot here. Just watch how quickly this Lynx just pops everything around it. Absolutely love to see it. That's the beauty of hitting that fully evolved Lynx off of a very, very early round. And if you didn't have to spend a lot for it, even better. But it does look like Sanya did end up basically blowing the bank to get that Lynx. So hopefully they can rebuild their economy and not let this punish them too badly moving into these later rounds. Because the rest of the other players, all above at least 40. Illuvium Hunter is the next one that's been spending, but they're still keeping it relatively modest, right around that 40 mark. Currently up 38 now. Let's see, we've got Illuvium Hunter versus Kirito Hype, and I think I understand why the levels were coming on through then. Illuvium Hunter wants to make sure that they can take Kirito Hype down in this fight. Going for the water. Does have fighter for themselves as well. See how this works here for both squads. As of right now, the Lynx on the side of Kirito Hype down to half, but doesn't have any augments on it. So not the perfect case scenario. But so far, Kirito Hype is a relatively even fight, actually. We do see the Coral being the main one still alive here, far side of Kirito. Meanwhile, the Slappin, the Axon, and this Kling are doing a decent job here for Illuvium Hunter. It's going to come down to a very, very close 2-on-1. Can they blend through this intargetability to maybe get the job done? They are not going to be able to do so. The Axon is going to stand tall and allow for the Slappin to just whack away. So that is going to be Illuvium Hunter hanging on for a little bit longer at 100%. Kirito going to get down to 82, which now leads us to both of our current flawless players going at it. Gypsy Hype going up against Illuvium Hunter. Gypsy Hype, it's the first time taking a look at them. We do have Berserker online already. It's going to be Bloom Berserker as of this moment. They do have the Lynx as well, middle stage evolution Lynx going to come on through as well. So lots of firepower, lots of fighters currently with all of our main players here in this battle. The Little Fury coming on through here from Illuvium Hunter is a nice addition as well. You do have the augment where it allows you to get a bunch of additional attack speed every time you cast your Omega. And with Furiox having, or Fury having that Omega that pumps attack speed anyway, being very, very quick to charge, it is doing a fantastic job for just being a little guy. Heck, even the Exalted Fleesh coming on through here from Illuvium Hunter. And they do own that one as well. Did not get stuck without their tier 0s. And that is a pretty decent little fleece right there. Can I see the attack damage? Oh no, it's not going to be there. I was a little bit late. The Illuvium Hunter is going to still remain flawless. We do have Kirito versus Knifely, but we're going to stay with Gypsy up against Yadya Sanya. One more time here. Again, it's going to be Sanya with the Relentless Terralinx. Essentially maxed out on attack damage and attack speed, but it's lacking in Omega power and health. So, granted, at least the Lynx naturally is pretty tanky, so it's not going to be the end of the world. Let's see how it does here up against Gypsy, who does have that hollowed out Relentless Lynx coming on through with essentially max DPS, just needs a little bit more attack speed. How does this one end up going down? Right now, the Terralinx is being focused down. The Monk here getting extremely close to being knocked out, though. It does end up going down. One more swing from the Terralinx is going to do a big chunk of damage to that little Winx. And now the Lynx battle in the middle is going to go over to that fully evolved Relentless Terralinx. Now onto the Fur Knight, and that is going to be Gypsy taking another shot here as Sanya going to stop the bleeding a little bit and knock Gypsy down to 77. NPC round, let's take a look and see what the economy check's looking like. Sanya's extremely close to finding a Chakondi. which is rather interesting. I have no idea where this composition is going to go. We have Verdant Berserker potentially, but otherwise, I don't know where you really pivot from there, and they don't necessarily have a lot of credits to really go with the flow after the fact. Illuvium Hunter could potentially going for some sort of Wildfire Aegis potentially, or maybe Harbinger Inferno. Got a couple of options there, and they still have over about 52 credits. They're going to get a bunch more now here from this NPC run as well. But Kirito Hype is probably in the best position alongside Gypsy Hype, I'd argue, where they have maxed out credits. They are going to be slowly but surely just being put into a position where they can outpace everybody based off of income alone. So they can take their time making their move, but when they do make their move, it'll be a big impact one. Instead of trying to make the move early and try to catch up a little bit or hold that lead, that feels like a much harder way to do it. But Sanya's going to keep on doing so, leveling up all the way to level 7. And we do have Sanya up against Illuvium Hunter. Illuvium Hunter, what did they just pick up here? That's going to be a stabbing coming on through, and a rather nasty one at that, going to be making it onto the field. Maxed out on attack damage, attack speed, tankiness, and movement speed. Just missing Omega Power. That is a nasty stabbing. And I like the move here. Move those augments over to stabbing. And now you have Vanguard as well. Just going to have Steam Vanguard here for Illuvium Hunter. Just going to superpower this stabbing. Just watch this thing go as it goes up against the tank. That's a Twine. It's supposed to be a tanky fella. In fact, it's a very tanky fella. It is going to fall. But how about up against this Terralynx? This is where things get a little bit scary. The stabbing is not going to be able to go up against that Terralynx. Nicely done there for Sanya. And the untargetability coming out here from that Phase Breaker going to give that Terralynx at least a little bit of breathing room. But look at this Exalted Fleesh. It's shooting everything down. Can it somehow take down the Exalted, or not the Exalted, but the fully evolved Terralynx? Not quite, but damn, that was close. A valiant effort there from our favorite little Tier 0. The Fleesh nearly getting the job done. But not quite. Alright, we're going to see a couple of our bots get knocked out here in this round. I'm going to hop on here with Kirito Hype. It's been a little bit. We'll see how they do versus Boomer Mousepad. Does have the 8 water going, but again, these are all level 1s. So I do imagine that even though the synergy is really, really good here for Boomer, unfortunately, they just don't actually have their own Illuvials, so they will probably get shredded on through here in just a moment's time. Yeah, that's probably the biggest missing piece again with levels. It's just not being able to survive is the most painful thing. Okay, so Uzla's going down, HQ's going down, Boomer will probably be out in just the next time by. Illuvium Hunter versus Gypsy. Alright. Illuvium Hunter with a nice little pickup here. The Archelion is here. Quite nice one at that. It's loaded up on Omega Power as well as resistances, so it's the perfect Illuvial for tanking Omegas. If you could potentially get that set up right to make that one happen. Do have the stabbing, of course, that we gave the shout out to earlier, but what about Gypsy? They're really putting a lot of emphasis here onto this Greater Monk here, which does have the attack damage and attack speed that they would be looking for. Lacking a little bit elsewhere, but maybe a little bit of a glass cannon style could get the job done. Send-off blast going directly through the Monk here, as well as that Fernite over in the corner coming out here from Illuvium Hunter. The Fleesh also getting involved, helping support the Send-off. Does take out the back line, but the fighters here for Gypsy Hype is still here. Monk here is about half health. It's going to walk into that beam, though. It's going to tank a little bit of damage. Can they get through this Archelion in time before this Exalted Fleesh actually comes through and tears the squad up? It takes down 2. It's now up against this Forest. It's actually a pretty close fight, but while it's in between casts, that's going to be the opportunity here for Gypsy Hype. That Forest to get the job done. A valiant effort's coming out there from Illuvium Hunter's Fleesh. 2 fights in a row. But not quite going to be enough. Let's take a look at our top 2 players now currently and see what they're building. Chakondi is now online here for Sanya. And I still question myself as to what exactly are they going for here. There are a lot of rogues. You got a handful of like decent alluvials, but the synergy is just not necessarily there. You have the 3 fighters, but that is basically it. And the ranger's not technically attached to anything either. So Kirito Hype has an opportunity here to maybe put the hurt here onto Sanya. As long as they can get rid of that Lynx, get rid of that Chakotay, they'll be in great shape. They've already chunked down the Chakotay down to half. It should just be a matter of time. And as they start to swarm the Lynx, they're kind of bouncing between untargetables here, between the Chakotay smoke and the untargetable Lynx from the Phase Breaker. But could not quite get the job done. So Kirito gonna put the hurt on the Sanya here once again. As we're now down to just our 4 players as we hit the next NPC round. Credit check. Let's see what everybody's doing here. Sanya's still extremely broke, has been broke basically this entire game. Illuvium Hunter did spend a ton as well. They were saving for a little bit, but now they're down to 12. Definitely looking forward to the influx of credits that this NPC round will give them. Getting that Archelion for some big backline sustain is going to be quite nice. And they did actually add a Rake to this team. So the Steam is going to just get that much more valuable. It's an interesting play, actually, because you've got the Steam to help the Rake, but you have the Vanguard to help the Penguin. You're helping both of these DPS units really pop off, but you're not necessarily hard focusing one of them, which is quite interesting. We'll have to see how it goes, because Kirito Hype has found the Rip Lance, and it is a nasty one, just missing a little bit of attack damage and Omega Power. Everything else is essentially right where you want it. Going to be scary to go up against here. What else has everybody really got going on? And this was just, I guess, a perfect case scenario here for Kirito Hype. While you may have picked up the Sylphid Blade to go for Mud, the Mud units were heavily contested, so if you do, maybe try to go for the Rip Lance, and that's absolutely what is going to be getting done now. Where did that Ranger go? It's actually going to be a Templar Toxic style coming out here from Kirito. Get yourself to 3 Toxic, let that Rip Lance go nuts, but what about the Steam and Vanguard style coming out here from Illuvium Hunter? Looking at that Rake up in the northern side of the arena, it's stuck right next to that Appon, so it's getting stunned pretty consistently, but it does have the Restorating Impact Reactor to let it heal on every single takedown, and it's absolutely finding takedowns. But Rip Lance is still alive, but it's stuck between a rock and a hard place. The Rake keeps dipping and dodging everywhere, and it keeps getting blasted by not just the Sen Elf, but also the Fleesh. It did a ton of damage, and that Fleesh is actually stealing attack damage and Omega Power every couple of attacks, so it actually does end up being quite the little monster near the end there. Nice win for Illuvium Hunter. Let's take a look at Illuvium Hunter one more time here up against Sanya. Sanya, what are we going for? We do have the Gyro now coming online. That's a pretty nice one at that. I think we saw it in the last game we saw of Sanya's as well. Hollowed out as well, so bonus points here for that. But both of our players that we're currently following right here, right now, both about as broke as it gets. Gypsy Hype did just pick up a Blazonite, so a nice little pickup there. Might be an empath, but that thing does a ton of damage. But let's take a look at our fight at hand here. With that Sinolf, again, getting a pretty nice shot with the Ranger in that position. It did allow for 2 Illuvials to get hit at the same time. So far, so good here for Illuvium Hunter. The Gyro gets focus fired. Absolutely bursted, and now the Rake is here for support on the back line as well. The Chakotay might be there, but it's only a single target menace. It is not going to be able to deal with this group, and Sanya going to be knocked down to the 30s, I do believe, 37 in particular. Okay, let's take a look here for Kirito versus Sanya one more time. Let's take a look at, again, Kirito now. By getting that Rip Lance, does have 3 Berserker online. So even though you don't necessarily have the innate sustain with a direct healer, or at least a consistent direct healer, you do have the Archos, of course, but Making sure that your Illuvials actually are near that Archos is another thing, but it does not matter. You have the Berserker, so you can heal just based off of auto attacks, and I don't think there's really anything here on the side of Sanya that can actually stun ya. So you're in a fantastic spot. Gonna be able to go up against that tank nice and quickly here, shred it on down. Meanwhile here for Sanya, their rogues are just kind of getting squished apart here. The Chakotay dipping and diving out of targetability as usual. The Lynx does get focus, and we're just seeing the swarm of green just absolutely massacre Sanya here one more time, knocking them now within kill shot. Let's take a look at Sanya one more time, going up against Illuvium Hunter. This could potentially be their last round if they cannot find the answer to crack the squad here of Illuvium Hunter, who, of course, again, very, very balanced squad in terms of affinities, but it's all the classes that are making everything work. There's 3 fighters, the 3 empaths, getting the boost for both of those. Not all hitting on anything, just solid all around. A good damage, or a good mix of upfront damage along, excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong side here. Illuvium Hunter in the red side of things. They have the Vanguard, still a nice little mixture, but has the Verdant, has the Steam, with a mixture of frontline and backline damage. As we see that Sinoff plus Leash combo, again, just pairing up and syncing up to just destroy whatever it targets. Shot after shot, and you've got the Rake there as well to help finish things off. Unfortunately here for Sanya, and for the second game in a row for what we're seeing across a few different players, the early push to get an early power spike with the Lynx seems to have not paid off, specifically here for Sanya. Got the Lynx, couldn't get the job done. We've seen this with sometimes Mud as well. I think we saw it there with Fox in the last game, actually, where pushed for the monkeys, but kind of got blocked out and could not make the comeback. So a similar scenario here happening to Sanya. It's an easy trap to fall into when things don't go your way, and it's going to send them down to 4th. Meanwhile, everybody else here in this lobby, not necessarily very rich. We do have the extra income coming on through here from the NPC rounds. That'll be a nice bonus, but it's still, everybody is below 50. Illuvium Hunter picking up the Lalura as well. If this ends up becoming Malura and that ends up being another Vanguard, that could be very, very scary for the rest of the team. Gypsy hype though, what do you've got going on? Spore is now online for a little bit of extra sustain. I'm sure that'll be nice. You also have the 7 fighters here online. Massive amount of attack speed, but you also get healing now for your attacks. Templar on top of that is quite nice. But with everybody being so broke, not very many more moves can truly be done here. But let's see what happens between our 2 top players in this lobby. Or I say Gypsy and Kirito are both kind of tied, so that's one way to also see it. Let's get another angle on this one, as we can see both of the shots from the Fleesh and the Sinoff once again going directly into that Blazonite. But so far Blazonite's been kind of okay. Another Sinoff shot's going to make things a little bit difficult. Good here from good heal from the Adorito, going to keep the Blazonite alive. But now that the healer is gone, what is the chances of surviving another Sinoff beam? It is not going to be any good chance at all. That is going to be Illuvium Hunter once again going to take the way, knocking Gypsy hype down to 18 HP. Now going to go up against Kirito, but who does Gypsy have to go up against? Does have to go up against Kirito's Ghost as well. That could potentially be a kill shot, but let's take a look and see at our player versus player combat. What do we have left in the tank here? Illuvium Hunter completely broke. Gypsy hype completely broke. Kirito still has a little bit in the tank. Kind of spending it now, though. Let's take a look and keep an eye and see what's going on. Railu rather, got added. The Exalted Grilla is here as well. But it looks like they're going to stick to Toxic and let this Riplance be the main carry of the squad for the time being. Let's see how it does up against this squad. Where the beams go, it's going directly into the Rip Lance. Rip Lance took a ton of heat. It needs to go untargetable. It needs to find some eliminations quickly to get itself sustained. The Toxic is not going to be enough to keep it going. Down to half. The the Exalted Gorilla is here for a little bit of assistance. Can it burst down this Rake? The Rip Lance is on top of it. It's extremely close, but the untargetability is just being so problematic. Rip Lance can't focus a target. It gets one. The friends are here though, but so is the Rake. A very close battle, but the Rake is going to end up falling. The Exalted Gorilla gets the final blow on that one. We do lose Gypsy hype, and now we have our last two players. They have ascended into some heads-up Illuvium. And let's see where we go from here. Kirito still has 16 credits to their name as of this moment. But there's no more moves that Illuvium Hunter can make. It was a very close battle in the last one, but Kirito was able to hang on by a thread with the help of the Phosphorus and Exalted Gorilla. Gave the Rip Lance a little bit of an extra breather. But the fact that that Rip Lance was bouncing back and forth so often because of all the untargetability that was going on through, made it so hard for it to actually pick up an elimination and start healing again and gaining those resistances. Big damage coming out onto the Rip Lance once again, and the Exalted Gorilla is doing a fantastic job of massacring the backline of Illuvium Hunter. No more support fire coming out here for Illuvium Hunter, and that is going to allow for this Rip Lance to get a little bit more personal one-on-one time with the Rake, and that is going to be a much more convincing win here for Kirito. Big win. Illuvium Hunter now within kill shot, and there is no NPC round to save you to get some more credits. However, big pickup here for Illuvium Hunter. The Malura is here. That is another Vanguard added to the squad to assist with this slapping or the stabbing to actually do some damage. Thing is though, stabbing doesn't seem like they're the main carry in this instance. So this is so rough. You have the more buffs going to the weaker of the carries. You do have a little bit of split support by having that steam, but can you keep your back line alive? That was the big difference maker in that last one. The first fight you did for a while for Illuvium Hunter, they were able to get the job done, or at least a little bit closer. But how about this time? That Exalted Gorilla, once again, it found a hole that goes directly for the Flish. It's down, and it's got open season now to once again go for Sinolf. The backline is gone once again. The Rip Lance is onto your healer. It is gone, and now it's just a matter of the rogues. Malura is, do you have a charm available? You do get it done. Actually, Rip Lance extremely low. It's a 3-on-1. It's a 4-on-1 actually. The Rip Lance is getting pulled all over the place. Untargetability, charms. There's nothing you could do, and the stun from the Ranger Shield as well. Illuvium Hunter with that Malura keeping themselves in the game as we get one more NPC round for one final influx of credits and components. Where do you go from here? For Illuvium Hunter, I'm not sure necessarily what your answer is. It does look like they're going for the Alphys instead. Potentially, can you get a duel left with like 30 credits? You would need godlike rolls to actually hit that. Meanwhile, on the other side here for Kirito, is there anything that they can specifically go for? It would just be the Exalted Apon, it looks like. That is a much more plausible opportunity. A little bit of repositioning. Let's get it back over. So we had Kirito in the red. Let's keep Kirito in the red. What are the potential final moves here for this one? It does not look like Illuvium Hunter hit. It was a very low odds play. They had to give it a shot. How about Kirito? Do they end up going for that Exalted Apon right around the corner? They might not necessarily need to. They're more so focused on positioning, which honestly, fair enough. Let's see how this goes. Final fight for this for this entire ranked game. Let's see how it goes. Where is that Exalted Gorilla? Onto the Flish once again, sending it down, but that is some decent damage coming out here from the back line this time. Rip Lance is getting low, down to half, and it's onto both the DPS, but the Malura with the charm, it's pulled it off the DPS, but Stabbin did go down. Where's the Rake? Is the Rake gone as well in this instance? I think the Rake is already dead. So now It's up to the Malura, actually, to be the carry here for Illuvium Hunter, or they will end up falling. They're trying. One more charm. Gets a good chop off, but it is so low. It is going to end up going down. And with that, it means it's just cruise control now here for the rest of Kirito's squad. So Kirito Hype will be your winner in this ranked game. GG's, everybody. Nicely done. Definitely a solid one there. Kirito Hype going to be taking that one. The Rip Lance, it might have been pulled all over the place, but it still stayed alive long enough. Big credit to that Exalted Gorilla. It had one job and it knew what it needed to do. Dive to the back line and slaughter the Scions, and it did it both times. And it looked much more convincing every single time as well. I love adding on the tessellating Omega Reactor as well. Speed up that process. Get there quicker. The Exalted Gorilla doesn't necessarily care about Omega power, but getting that extra energy, casting more often, getting to that back line, that was a beautiful play there for Kirito Hype to get their Gorilla exactly where they needed to. And it just lets essentially the stress for the rest of the carries, the rest of those Illuvials, to be lifted off their shoulders once that Sinolf was done, once the Flish was gone. It's weird thinking of the Flish as a carry, but that was a very solid Exalted Water Flish coming out here from Illuvium Hunter. So GG's to all, GG's to Gypsy Hype and Sanya as well. But what a game. Well, that was a lot of fun here this stream. I hope you enjoyed both this week in Illuvium as well as the arena casting post-show. If this is something you enjoyed me doing, just casting ranked games like this, please do let me know in the comments or in the chat, because this is definitely something I can do more often now that I have the resources available to make it happen. And big thank you to Illuvium for allowing me to have access to the spectator codes, because as of right now, you technically can't get it due to Down at Kings being down in ZK EVM migration. But it is something that I can do a little bit more often if people are having fun with it, so we'll see. This is the last stream of the week for me. There is no download tomorrow, and I will not be doing a stream on Friday. Friday is going to be my catch-up day on a bunch of long-form videos that I do want to make. I have like 20 videos that I want to make. Maybe I can knock one or two of them down and get the recording done for those, and then just do the editing as the day goes on after the fact. But of course, if you happen to be new here, whether it be following on Twitch or X or subscribing on YouTube and you want to come hang out again sometime, again, I will for sure do streams Monday and Wednesday of every week, unless notified otherwise. And of course, I've been basically exclusively doing Illuvium content for the last little bit. Not because I'm making any money off of it or anything, because, again, none of my channels are monetized. I'm not making any money. I'm just having fun doing this, and I thank you all for hopping on in and watching and chatting with me as well. But with that, I do need to close up here for today. Catch my breath a little bit. It's been a while since we've casted that much. But this is also good practice for me as well, so I'm definitely enjoying it. Yeah, until next time, of course, I'll see you on Monday for some more Illuvium action. Well, it'll probably be my ranked day to try and rank up a little bit. As see, I kind of fell to 25th on the leaderboard a little bit earlier, so I have some catching up to do. We'll see how my team can hold up now that some of these stronger players and stronger collections are starting to show up more and more often in the arena. And of course, if there is any sort of news coming out from Illuvium, any sort of announcements or anything along those lines, you know I'll be there to cover it as soon as possible. So until then, I'll see you in the next video.